Well, I actually feel that this chapter has some very big amount of heartwarming in it. After all, last week's chapter of Kingdom, King, King surrendered, and this continues the chapter and also answers the question I think I have been asking myself the last couple of chapters. Now I actually feel kind of stupid. Yes, in the end, Saitaku, the old Chancellor, has passed away. Hi, for those who are watching, it is me, the angry anime fan, the despair reviewer, to bring you a little while talking about the chapter 489 of Kingdom. As the kings still say that they are very agreeing with this, Orkin says that even though this is verbal, Key will now sit on the sideline and observe until the time comes from the right. But Say is very considerate with that because that will save hundreds of thousands. So in the end, he should thank Saitaku, who begins to talk a little bit about how long he has lived. Because it's true, this old man, I think he lived for 4 different generations, and that is quite an achievement. He uh, he actually mentions that once upon a time he wanted. Mm, to be just like Say is now, someone who unites us. But he gave up on that path a very long time ago. But just like a lot of others, he was enchanted by Say's conviction. Moreover, even his talk to Rufe about the light. And when we saw him grabbing his heart, then I thought he got a heart attack. Well, maybe he did, but in the end, moving his heart like that simply says that he was just happy. He was moving his heart. But he also warns Say that all for all of his boasting and all for his promises and all for his wisdom, if he cannot bring this to light, then it will only be a rambling of a child. Which is actually kind of funny for him to say, but that's actually true. That old man has lived for a very long time and he has seen many things. So it's kind of funny for him to say to a king, it will only be a foolish rambling of a child. And it's even funnier that Sei agrees. So, but he also mentions that the one who will stand away from this ambition, it is Ribuku, which Sei also agrees. After all, and even Oken, the king of Ki, agrees. But because he believes that even though Sao has lost some views, he believes Ribuku is not a single bit pressured and has something up his sleeve. And he is someone who is much greater threat than anyone gives us credit for. Well, if anything, we have known that he's quite a monster. I want to say a hypocrite too, but then again, that's not exactly true. It's just that some parts is just some parts. But uh, either way, we all know that Ribuku has that. No, no, damn! Did I now lose his name? Oh, I think I lost his name. That big brute with the spear. Was it Hawken? Yeah, I think it was Hawken. Um, who both slayed Duke Hyo and Oki, although it was thanks to Riboku's planning that was gonna happen. But Sei believes someone will slay him. So who will slay him? Well, according to history, Riboku suffered a very disgraced manner and was then executed a coward's death. At least that's what the records say, so who knows how they will portray it. But now Riboku is in the palace. So what awaits us next is don't know. As Saikuto gives a final bow, Oken and him are still alone. As he mentions just how much how Oken was enchanted again by the King China king. he once again looks at his old friend and realizes that the old man has passed away peacefully. After bowing to say, he is the old Chancellor of Saitaku has long last passed away. And that man lived a very long life, and in the end he died without any regrets. Mostly because he lived a long life and he met one extraordinary king. So Oken gives his old friend a hug, sort of, and congratulates him that his final piece of work was his greatest. And then the real life records come, and that says that Saitaku, or Zaizei, as I think they said in China, he was originally born in Jian, and he wandered everything before he arrived in Xin China. He became a Qin Chancellor after battling of wits, and he will serve 4 generations of Qin China's kings, and the final one, of course, being Eisei. And he obtained so much more, which was even more than his homeland Yan would ever do. As Oken silently closes his eyes, he realizes that Saitaku is already very, very cold. Which probably meant that the old man actually only was already dead. Just he held on for just this one final time, which may actually be true. So he died, passed away peacefully. And Sei can a little bit sense that that's happening. But as they go towards Riboku, one wonders, yes, what will happen? What will happen now? There was a ceasefire between Sao, just to get this Oken to say. Will now Riboku, being so very wistful again, and do something that will shake Sei's court again? Who knows? But will Sei remember Saitaku's words, that if he doesn't come this into fruition, then it will only be a rambling of a child. The suspense is a bit stronger. We all know what happened in history, but still not exactly sure just how much of history is gonna be true in this manga. But then again, it's not important for me. I mean, I want as much fiction, I prefer a fictional how do you say this? Fictionality based on a real situation. But I do not mean that it should only purely be fiction on reality, but a reality that follows as much as possible, but then twists it, turns a little bit fictional in order to bring forth a story, a different word on it, no matter if that wasn't real or not. So in the end, that the old man's duty was over. What awaits us now? No idea. But Riboku did swear he was gonna avenge Kisha, and everybody is very worried about just kind of man Riboku is. And it's also worth noting that he is not smiling. Then again, Riboku wasn't really a man that was smiling. He's mostly always having a serious scowl, only smiling when he's coming to situations he, well, I guess, prefers. But and when people begin to say, why do I call Riboku a hypocrite? Well, I do know, but the way when he formed the army, the way he said he was not happy about all of this, because he is the reason for thousands of deaths. In India, I want to say something like this. He says he's not happy about this, and yet he still does it. Then again, that's just what all of this, what Says also has. He is not happy about this, but he has to. But there's just something about Riboku's words that doesn't play with his actions. Is it about the way he always hides his true nature, or is it more because of just how that he considers some parts so serious that well, he doesn't care what kind of side effects comes after it? Who knows? Give me your thoughts if you have any.